The planet Zero 9 was a harsh and unforgiving place. Red dust storms often swept across the vast plains, and the twin suns blazed down during the day, turning the rocky hills into shimmering waves of heat. Despite this, humans had made it their home. Small colonies dotted the landscape, and people worked tirelessly to survive. But survival alone was not enough. On Zero 9, the Council had rules for greatness. Each year, they held a competition to find the most remarkable human. The winner would lead the colony's first interstellar mission, a dream that many longed for but few could. Chief Commander Jalen was a veteran of the colony. He had spent most of his life exploring the dangerous terrains of Zero 9, mapping hidden caves and discovering underground water sources. His courage was well known and his intelligence respected. Yet even he had never thought he could win the Council's prize. The competition was fierce, with people showcasing their strength, speed, beauty, and cleverness. But this year, something unusual caught his attention. Her name was Lyra. She was not beautiful in the way the colony admired. Her hair was uneven, her eyes slightly different sizes, and her clothes were simple and practical. People whispered that she was ugly, and many laughed at her as she moved quietly through the crowd. Yet Jalen noticed something that others did not. Lyra had a calm way of observing the world. She looked at problems as if she could see the hidden threads that connected them all. And when she spoke, people listened, even if they tried to hide it. The competition began with tests of intelligence. A complicated puzzle appeared on the central screen. A simulation of the colony's water system with missing links and failing pipelines. Contestants rushed to fix it, some relying on luck, others on brute force. Lyra sat quietly, examining every connection with careful thought. Jalen watched as her hands moved slowly over the controls, adjusting valves and redirecting flows. Within minutes, the system was stabilized. Some of the council members gasped. Others frowned, unwilling to admit that the plain, quiet woman had done something remarkable. Next came the test of courage. Contestants were sent into the scorching Red Canyon, where wild sandstorms could appear without warning. Most relied on speed and physical strength to navigate the dangerous terrain. Lyra moved steadily, not quickly. She anticipated every shift in the wind, every loose stone that could give way underfoot. By the time she reached the center, where a hidden device awaited, she had not only survived but had collected critical samples that others had missed. Still, the whispers continued. "Why is Jalen paying attention to her?" some asked. "She is plain. She is slow. Surely someone stronger or prettier should be chosen." Jalen ignored them. He had seen enough in his years of exploration to know that appearances often deceived people. True ability was something deeper. It was resourcefulness, courage, and the willingness to do what others would not. And Lyra had all of it. Finally, the council asked the contestants to solve a moral problem. A crisis scenario was displayed. The colony's water supply was low, and a nearby underground source could only be accessed if the dangerous mining robots were used. One person could attempt it, risking life and limb. Many contestants panicked or acted recklessly, hoping to impress. Lyra approached with calm precision. She analyzed the risk, calculated the chance of success, and found a method that minimized danger while ensuring the water would flow. Her approach was careful yet bold. When the results were revealed, the audience was shocked. Lyra had solved the intelligence puzzle faster than anyone, navigated the Red Canyon flawlessly, and solved the moral dilemma with cleverness and courage. Yet her appearance was unchanged. She was still plain, still quiet, still different from the flamboyant contestants who tried to draw attention with flashy skills. Now it was time for Jalen to make his choice. The council expected him to select someone strong, intelligent, or conventionally attractive. They leaned forward in anticipation, certain that he would follow the pattern. But Jalen surprised everyone. He stepped forward, his voice steady. "I choose Lyra." A stunned silence fell over the hall. Murmurs spread like wildfire. "Why? She is ugly," someone whispered. "Why not pick the strong, handsome one?" Another asked. Jalen ignored the questions. He looked directly at Lyra, who seemed unsure if she had heard him correctly. "Not for pity," he said, "but because of what she really is. She has courage, intelligence, and judgment. She sees what others cannot. She has the qualities that matter most for the mission. Beauty is temporary. Skill, wisdom, and bravery are eternal." Some council members nodded slowly, beginning to understand. Others remained skeptical. Still, the decision was final. Lyra had been chosen and the reaction was mixed. Some contestants scowled. Some smiled quietly, realizing they had misjudged her. Lyra herself looked at Jalen with a mixture of surprise and gratitude. As the ceremony ended, Jalen and Lyra walked together through the red dust plains outside the colony. The twin suns hung low in the sky, casting long shadows. "I don't understand," Lyra said softly. "Why did you choose me? There are others who seem more impressive," Jalen smiled. "Because you are remarkable, Lyra. Not in the way people see, but in the way that counts. The stars beyond this planet need more than beauty or strength. They need people who can think, who can endure, and who can care. You are one of those people." Lyra looked at him, her eyes wide. For the first time she felt seen, not for her appearance, but for her true self. She understood that the journey ahead would be difficult. The mission into uncharted space would demand everything she had. But for the first time in her life, she also felt that she belonged. As the wind swept across the plains carrying red dust into the distance, the two of them walked in silence. Around them, the colony continued its work, unaware that a new chapter was about to begin. A chapter where human ingenuity, courage, and heart would be tested like never before. And in that chapter, the ugliest woman of the colony, chosen not for pity but for her true worth, would play a central role. The colony of Zyra-9 was buzzing with anticipation. Lyra, the unexpected choice of Commander Jalen, had won the prize, but many still doubted her. Rumors spread quickly through the dusty streets. Some whispered that she would fail. Others wondered if Jalen had made a mistake. But Lyra was determined. She knew her worth was not in what people said, but in what she could do. The first real test came quickly. The colony's water distribution system, already fragile, began to fail in several sectors. Machines broke down, pipes leaked, and storage tanks overflowed. Panic spread among the workers. Jalen and Lyra were called to find a solution. While the other contestants might have panicked or tried to fix one problem at a time, Lyra calmly examined the entire system. She quickly noticed a small valve hidden behind a wall, overlooked by generations of engineers. With precise movements, she repaired the valve and rerouted water to the most critical areas. Jalen watched in admiration. "You did that calmly while everyone else rushed," he said. "How did you see it so quickly?" Lyra smiled faintly. "I just look for patterns. The system has a rhythm. Once you see it, the mistakes become obvious." Her success didn't go unnoticed. Council members began visiting her workspace to watch her method. They were amazed at her intelligence, her attention to detail, and her patience. Unlike many others, she did not seek recognition. She worked quietly, letting results speak for themselves. Then came a more dangerous test. The colony had discovered an underground cavern containing a rare mineral needed to power the new spacecraft. However, the cavern was unstable, with sharp rock formations and shifting floors. The council needed someone to guide a team safely into the cavern and extract the mineral. Many contestants volunteered, boasting of their strength and courage. Lyra remained calm. "Strength alone won't save us," she told Jalen. "We need careful planning and smart tools. Rushing in could collapse the entire cavern." Jalen nodded. "Then we'll go your way." Inside the cavern, Lyra led the team with careful precision. She had designed a system of pulleys and stabilizing rods to secure the fragile walls. When a rockfall occurred, her quick thinking diverted the falling debris, preventing injuries. She worked methodically, extracting the mineral with minimal risk. The team, initially skeptical of her abilities, now followed her instructions without question. Back on the surface, the council members were stunned. "She didn't just survive," one said. "She solved problems no one else could even see." But Lyra's greatest challenge came when the spacecraft construction began. The ship was designed to carry humans beyond Zyra-9, into uncharted regions of space. Engineers faced countless technical issues: engines that overheated, navigation systems that failed, and limited resources that could not be replaced easily. Many engineers argued that the mission was too risky. Lyra, however, had ideas. She suggested modifications to the energy converters, improvements to the heat shields, and an innovative recycling system for the ship's resources. Some laughed at first. "These are untested ideas," they said. "Do you really think they will work?" Lyra only smiled. "We won't know until we try, but if we plan carefully, we can succeed." Jalen trusted her. Together, they tested her ideas, adjusting systems until everything functioned perfectly. The ship, once considered nearly impossible to complete, became a model of human ingenuity. During these long days of work, Lyra's quiet determination began to change the colony's view of her. Children watched her closely, learning to think and observe carefully. Adults began seeking her advice, realizing that true intelligence was more than just memorizing facts. It was understanding patterns, thinking ahead and making careful decisions under pressure. Despite her growing respect, Lyra remained humble. She did not boast about her successes or criticize others for their mistakes. She worked steadily, solving problem after problem, gaining confidence in herself and those around her. Jalen noticed this change too. He realized that choosing her had not only helped the mission succeed, but had also taught the colony something important. True value lies in actions, courage and intelligence, not appearance or fame. One evening, as the twin suns set behind the red hills, Lyra and Jalen stood by the half-built spacecraft. "You've changed the way people think," Jalen said. "The colony will never look at appearances the same way again." Lyra looked at the ship, her eyes reflecting the fading sunlight. "I just hope they understand that this is what humans can do," she replied. "Not just me, but all of us. We can solve problems, survive, and explore beyond what anyone thinks is possible." Her words were not empty. Soon, a council meeting confirmed it. The colony recognized the importance of substance over appearance. They praised Lyra for her intelligence, bravery, and leadership. Even those who had mocked her before now sought her guidance. Yet the real test was still ahead. The mission into uncharted space would require every skill she possessed. Jalen and Lyra began preparing for the journey, planning the route, testing life support systems, and training the crew. Each day revealed new challenges, but Lyra met each one with calm determination. In quiet moments, she sometimes wondered if people would ever truly understand why she had been chosen. But then she would see the progress, the teamwork, the success of her ideas, and the respect of those around her, and she knew. True worth was not in appearance. It was in action, in courage, and in the wisdom to see what others could not. Finally, the spacecraft was ready for its first test flight. The engines roared to life, sending vibrations through the ground. The crew held their breath as the ship lifted above the red plains. Lyra monitored every system, ensuring stability and safety. When the ship rose smoothly into the sky, a cheer erupted. Lyra smiled faintly, realizing that this moment marked a new era. Not just for the mission, but for the entire colony. Humans could accomplish incredible things when they looked beyond appearances and valued true ability. And for the first time, many in the colony began to see Lyra not as the ugly woman, but as a symbol of human excellence. The journey ahead was still uncertain. The stars beyond 09 awaited, full of mysteries and dangers, but with Lyra's intelligence and courage and Jalen's experience and trust, humanity was ready to meet the challenge. The ugliest woman of the colony had become its brightest hope, proving that true merit was not in looks or charm, but in action, intelligence, and heart. The day of the launch had finally arrived. The twin suns of 09 rose over the red plains, casting long shadows across the colony. The spacecraft, gleaming with freshly polished metal and carefully tested systems, stood ready. People gathered to watch, a mixture of awe, fear, and excitement on their faces. This mission was humanity's first step beyond 09, into the uncharted stars. Lyra stood beside Commander Jalen, checking the ship's final systems one last time. Her mind was calm, focused, but her heart raced with anticipation. Every challenge she had faced, from repairing the colony's water systems to stabilizing the underground mineral cavern, had led to this moment. She had proven herself not only to Jalen, but to the entire colony, and now she would show what humans were truly capable of. "Ready?" Jalen asked, looking at her. Lyra nodded. "Ready." The crew boarded the spacecraft, each person carrying both excitement and nervousness. Many had initially doubted Lyra's abilities, but now they trusted her completely. She had planned every step of the mission, anticipated possible problems, and found solutions that no one else had considered. Her intelligence, courage, and careful judgment were the backbone of their preparation. The engines ignited, sending vibrations through the ground. Dust swirled around the base of the ship as it lifted slowly, then faster into the sky. Gasps and cheers erupted from the watching crowd. Lyra's eyes were fixed on the monitors, watching every system respond perfectly. No errors, no failures. Hours passed as the spacecraft left 09's atmosphere. The stars stretched out like a sea of diamonds, and the vastness of space began to surround them. Despite the beauty, the crew remained focused. This was not a sightseeing trip. It was a mission to explore, to test human ingenuity, and to expand the reach of their species. Suddenly, a problem arose. A small meteor storm appeared on their path, threatening the delicate navigation systems. Panic could have spread, but Lyra's calm presence kept the crew focused. She quickly calculated the trajectory, adjusted the shields, and guided the ship through the storm with precise maneuvers. The meteors bounced harmlessly off the protective shields. The crew stared at her in awe. "I thought this was impossible," one engineer said. Lyra smiled faintly. "Nothing is impossible if you understand the problem and act carefully." Days turned into weeks as the spacecraft traveled deeper into uncharted space. The crew faced many challenges: malfunctioning instruments, unpredictable energy fluctuations, and even the psychological strain of isolation. Yet Lyra's intelligence and calm judgment allowed them to overcome each obstacle. She developed new systems to recycle resources efficiently, devised methods to stabilize the ship's energy flow, and even created routines to keep morale high among the crew. Jalen often watched her in quiet admiration. "I knew you were remarkable," he said one evening. "But even I didn't realize how much you could accomplish under pressure." Lyra shook her head. "I am only as strong as the team, Jalen. We all work together. But yes, humans can do incredible things when we think carefully and act wisely." Finally, after weeks of travel, they arrived at a planet in a distant system, one untouched by humans. Its surface was covered in strange blue vegetation and towering rock formations. The atmosphere was breathable, but unknown dangers could exist. The mission was to explore, collect data, and determine if this world could support human life. Lyra led the team as they descended in small exploration pods. Her careful planning paid off immediately. She identified safe landing zones, mapped potential hazards, and guided the crew to collect samples of soil, water, and plant life. Her sharp mind noticed patterns in the planet's environment that no one else saw. Certain plants emitted energy readings, suggesting hidden mineral deposits. Cracks in the rocks indicated underground water flows. Everything was carefully recorded. Back on the spacecraft, Lyra analyzed the data. She realized that this planet was not just habitable. It had the potential to sustain a thriving human colony. Her discovery thrilled the crew and provided hope for humanity's expansion. The news of their success reached Zera 9 via long-range communication. The colony erupted in celebration. People who had once doubted Lyra now hailed her as a hero. The ugliest woman of the colony had become its brightest symbol of human excellence. Jalen smiled proudly, knowing that his choice had been right from the very beginning. But Lyra's focus was not on fame. She continued working tirelessly, ensuring that every decision for the mission was thoughtful and safe. Her leadership inspired the crew to give their best, fostering teamwork, respect, and ingenuity. She reminded them that exploration was not about individual glory. It was about humanity's ability to overcome challenges together. Months passed. The crew returned to Zera 9, bringing back knowledge, resources, and hope. The council welcomed them as heroes, and Lyra's contributions were celebrated. Children in the colony began to learn from her example, understanding that intelligence, courage, and careful planning mattered far more than appearance. In a quiet moment, Jalen and Lyra stood outside the colony, watching the twin suns set over the red plains. "You've changed everything," Jalen said softly. "Not just for the mission, but for the way humans see themselves." Lyra looked at him, a small smile on her face. "I hope so. Humans have the power to achieve incredible things when we look beyond appearances and value what really matters." Jalen nodded. "And thanks to you, they will. You've shown that true worth is measured by action, intelligence, and courage, not by how someone looks." The wind blew gently across the plains, carrying red dust into the distance. The colony was alive with possibility. New explorers would be inspired, new leaders would emerge, and humanity's reach into the stars had only just begun. Lyra had started as the ugliest woman of the colony, judged unfairly by appearances. Yet through her intelligence, courage, and unwavering dedication, she had become a symbol of human potential. She had shown that greatness could come from anyone, anywhere, and that the true strength of humanity lay in the ability to think, act, and care for the future. As night fell over Zera 9, the twin suns finally disappearing below the horizon, Lyra and Jalen looked up at the stars. The universe was vast and full of unknowns, but humanity had proven it could meet any challenge. With clever minds, brave hearts, and a willingness to see beyond the surface, the journey of exploration and discovery would continue. Lyra had not only earned the prize, but had also earned a place in the hearts of all who witnessed her courage and wisdom. And as the colony slept under the endless stars, one truth shone brighter than any sun. Humanity's greatest treasures were its minds, its hearts, and its indomitable spirit.